Hello and welcome to the Blood Red's Morning Digest. I'm joined by my fellow Liverpool.com writer, Andrew Beasley, to discuss last night's game, in particular, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate. It's another game and another clean sheet for Liverpool. That's three in a row now, 270 minutes of action as well. What did you make of the defensive performance last night? It was quite an immense defensive showing, I thought.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I mean, obviously, you go away to somewhere like Inter Milan, they're going to have a few chances, but they didn't really have too many notable moments, particularly no clear-cut chances. I don't think they had the sort of thing that every team has against Liverpool, where it looked like Dzeko was through, but obviously he was offside. You have to wait for the flag. Bit of a theme for Liverpool at the moment. But no, I mean, on the whole, it was really good. I didn't necessarily think Liverpool were going to score either, the longer it went on. But yeah, they can certainly be very happy with the defensive performance.
What do you make of that partnership between Konate and Van Dijk? We haven't seen a lot of it this season. It's mostly been Matip and Van Dijk. But when they have played together, I think they complement each other well, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sort of easy line to say, well, everybody looks good next to Virgil van Dijk, and I'm sure there is some truth in that because of how good he is. But yeah, no, it's working together. They're working together really well. And I think it's quite interesting, as you say, obviously Matip and Van Dijk has been by far the most used partnership. But obviously Konate's been getting games, obviously last night, but also Man United away, Milan away in the group stage. All right, it was a dead rubber for Liverpool, but it's still a big game. He's getting opportunities in the big games rather than as well as some of the sort of less glamorous ties. So Klopp obviously trusts him, and rightly so. I think he's been pretty great on the whole, to be honest. I mean, it's a big ask to come into a side as good as Liverpool, and I think on the whole he's done it really well.
Absolutely, I have to agree. I think as well, what I like about him is he probably has a bit more pace than Matip. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, the high line, when you're playing alongside Van Dijk and Konate and you have that high line, it's definitely something that Liverpool can pull off more effectively, I'd say. And that Edin Dzeko goal was an example of that in the game. I think as well, like you mentioned, with Konate, the fact that he's started such high-profile games. I read a stat somewhere that he still hasn't lost a game he started in. So the fact that he has started at the Stamford Bridge, at Old Trafford, and now at the San Siro is a testament to his quality as well. What have you made of his arrival since he's come in to the club? You know, he hasn't always played, but when he has played, he's been impressive, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done really well. And I think it was quite a strange time to be, always quite tricky to come in, as I said. But with Liverpool centre-backs, I mean, were coming in and all three of the established guys were all coming back from sort of long-term injuries. You've got them coming back. You've got Konate, obviously new to the club, new to English football. So it was always going to be quite a challenge. I mean, Klopp has used him fairly sparingly, but obviously it's fairly well known that Klopp tends to do that. He has done in the past with guys like Robertson and Firmino, give them a while to sort of get acclimatized. But yeah, I think Konate's done well, as I said, pretty much every time he's played. I think this is his sort of bedding in season probably, and I think next season it may well be him and Van Dijk for the majority of the matches rather than just some of the more high-profile fixtures. But then who knows? I mean, Matip gets written off a lot and he keeps coming up with the goods, so you don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was how it sort of panned out next season, Konate and Van Dijk perhaps becoming the main duo, because as you say, Konate is better placed to deal with a high line, I would think, because of his recovery pace, yeah.
It's been a strange one with Matip. I mean, not a bad thing for Liverpool, but it's been a freak season for him in the sense that he tends to get injured a lot, and touching wood, he hasn't had that this season. So I think you think when Konate came in, he probably thought he would have played a bit more games just based on the injury record and stuff. But yeah, he's been a bit unfortunate in that regard, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, I think really that the really unfortunate one is probably Gomez.
Exactly.
Because he needs to play to get his form back after his injury. And obviously, had Konate not come in, or maybe Konate had looked a bit shaky, Gomez may well have had more games, but it hasn't really happened for him. I mean, I'd like to think he'll play against Norwich on Saturday. Obviously, with the short turnaround Wednesday to Saturday, I suspect there'll be a few changes for that game, and Gomez would be an obvious one to get him a game against the lowest scoring team in the league. He, shouldn't be kept too busy, you would think, but it's a chance to give him some time on the pitch. So yeah, he's kind of been the unlucky one, I guess, this season, because I guess all of them probably looked at each other and thought, well, he might get injured, and thankfully it hasn't really happened. I think they've been managed really well. So yeah, it's been a bit unfortunate for Gomez, but again, not writing him off by any means, but it's going to be hard for him to get his best form back when he's not really playing. So and obviously the games don't get less important from here onwards. He might get the cup game also against Norwich, isn't it, in the FA Cup, games like that. Seem to play Norwich all the time this season.
League Cup as well, exactly.
Yeah. I think I saw a thing that there's not many times a team has beaten another by 3 goals 3 times in a season, and obviously, if Liverpool win by 3 on Saturday, they'll have achieved that against Norwich. But so anyway, so Gomez might get a few games, but he's probably not going to get that many games.
What do you think?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many Konate gets. As I say, the games only get bigger from here, really. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to start the League Cup final, for instance, but you never know. I think he started at Stamford Bridge, did you say? So I mean, he got experience of playing Chelsea. It's an interesting one. But I mean, it's just after last season, Klopp will be glad just not to have playing midfielders there or whatever.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have for sure. I think it will be interesting to see about Joe Gomez's long-term future at the club. Like you mentioned, next season going forward, it might be the case that Konate and Van Dijk are the starting centre-backs. And if that is going to be the case, then I think it could be a possibility that Gomez will be looking to move on in the summer. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think it's one where the club won't be in any hurry to get rid of him, but he may think that it's a good idea to move on. It's difficult, isn't it? It's like, are you better being a squad person at Liverpool or playing every week? I mean, I think he could play it to a high level in the Premier League, don't get me wrong, but he's probably not going to necessarily walk into the defence of a top 6 side with the injuries and things he's had. So it could be a bit of a risk. Does he stay on? Does he maybe go to a team lower down the division? I would think he'd probably stay, but I guess we don't know. As we've said, he could look at certainly Matip and think, well, there's every chance he may get injured, because he often does. But then Matip might think the same thing about Gomez, I suppose, and with some justification. But certainly, you would think if any of them were to leave, then he would be the obvious candidate. But hopefully not. But I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, only time will tell. Talking about injuries, though, I mean, Virgil van Dijk came back from a pretty serious injury this summer, and I think it has taken him a while to get back to his best. But I think now we're really truly seeing him being in peak Van Dijk form, so to say. He was man of the match against Inter, and do you agree with that assessment? Is he now fully back to his very best at Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly getting to that level, isn't he? I think I've seen it written before. There's a sort of theory that however long a player is out for an injury, it will take them that long to sort of get back to their best. So if you're out for a month, take you a month to get back up to speed or whatever. And obviously he was out for, the best part of a season, more or less. And he certainly seems to be proving that. I mean, I don't think he was bad when he came back, but you just expect such high levels from him. And he was perhaps a bit short of that. But no, I mean, I thought it was brilliant last night. Was it Martinez, I think, had the ball and he was sort of doing a counter-attack and he came up against Van Dijk and basically just stopped. He's like, what do I do here? I don't know how to get past him. I don't know. There's nobody, who do I pass to? All these things. That's what Van Dijk does. It sort of, as it was unfolding, it sort of reminded me a bit of the famous one he had against Son in a home game against Tottenham. Son, I think, a couple of years ago, just sort of forcing him wide, and then the players left not really knowing what to do or whatever. And so that was really good to see. And so I think he's possibly getting back to his best, and obviously it's at a very good time for Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that about wraps it up for today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to check out the rest of the Blood Red podcast going out today and written content on the Liverpool Echo and the Liverpool.com.